Today we're going to go over a smarter yoga sequence for cyclists. If you cycle through the city, or you cycle at all, you probably know that that repetitive motion can cause stresses, tightnesses in the body. So this is Ed. He cycles everywhere. We're going to go through a little sequence that people like Ed can do to help them feel better. You can take your helmet off now. So the first thing you want to do is not to jump into stretching, is to roll out your connective tissue. If you have tight connective tissue sitting on top of muscles and you try to yank them, it can actually cause tearing. So the first thing Ed's going to do is roll out his quads. So as you can see, or maybe you can't see, he's focusing on one leg at a time. The more pressure that you put on the one side, the more you will get out of it. So what he's also doing is he's sort of scanning up and down to find a place that doesn't feel so great. And once you find that place, you can stay on it and breathe. You can get a little closer to the knee. There we go. The next thing he's going to do is roll out his glutes. So as you can see, he's on his right glute and he has his right ankle crossed over his left knee. That tends to expose some of the muscles that would not be there if the leg wasn't rotated in that direction. And again, same thing. So if he finds an area that doesn't feel so great, he can sit on it and breathe. So because Ed rides clipped in, he's going to have tighter hip flexors and tighter quads. I tend to ride a little bit higher up. I'm not clipped in, and I also change my position on my bike so that it uses the back of my leg a little bit more, which may not be the cycling appropriate thing to do, but it is a lot more even for me. So then after this, I'm going to put him into a hip flexor stretch. So left leg forward, right knee on the floor. So what I want you to do here, Ed, is I want you to tuck your pelvis under on the right side. See if you can engage your glutes, relax your shoulder blades, and try to get your hips to move as far forward as you can comfortably and start to breathe. With each breath, I want you to think of tucking your pelvis under more. So what he's feeling is a stretch that goes anywhere from his knee up to his pelvis and maybe even a little bit higher. And then on top of that, if he lifts up here a little bit more, he'll feel a bit more out of this. Make sure you have nice deep breaths there. Great, so you're going to sit on the floor for the glute stretch with your hands behind you, feet out in front of you, and you're going to cross again your right ankle over your left knee. We're just doing one side. So like this. So Ed doesn't have as much range of motion as I do, but what you're going to do to gain range of motion, instead of just grabbing yourself here like a lot of people will do, is you're going to rotate your pelvis forward and backward. Forward and backward until you feel a place that feels appropriate to breathe. The other thing you can do is think of rotating this leg outwards, not pushing your knee away from you. That's not very helpful. Good? So let's go ahead and take you into the hamstring stretch. You're going to put your right foot forward, and I want your chest right on top of your thigh. So I want you to go ahead and open your chest forward, tilt your hips back behind you with your hands on the floor, and from your front foot, I want you to push your hips straight back. Good. So a lot of times people's hips will go out this way, so I'm going to encourage you to push straight back, and then again, breathe. Good, a couple more breaths. Okay, so you can stand up out of that. And then lastly, because cycling is a sagittally oriented activity, meaning that it's in this plane, we're going to start to play with motion in another direction. So I'm going to teach you how to do a warrior two. So you're going to have you can face forward, feet apart. A little bit more than that, you're a pretty big guy. Hands on your hips, and you're going to turn one foot that way. You're going to bend the knee. So what I want you to do here is start to roll this knee so it faces here. Get to a comfortable position and try to get your pelvis underneath you. You might feel a bit of a groin stretch, you might feel your glutes, whatever it is, and then try to rotate this back. Good. You can come out of it a little bit, and then breathe. So if you feel like going deeper, the way that you deepen this pose is to move this leg further back. Go ahead. Good, and that might change things, right? Try to lift your hip up, and breathe. And that's a little sequence that you can do to help your hips.